George, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So please break down this resolution for us. How much of the retirement funds for U.S. citizens have investments in China-related companies?
So there's, first of all, let's talk about the numbers. Here in California, we have three major pension funds. We have one that's called CalPERS, which is for all the state employees. The other one is called CalSTRS, which are for all the teachers from kindergarten all the way to high school. And then we have another one for all the UC professors. The first one have about $400 billion. It's called CalPERS. The second one is called CalSTRS, about $300 billion. And then there's the one for the UC professors is another $200 billion. So in California alone, we have $1 trillion in public pensions. Now, nationwide, along the United States, is about $5 trillion in pension funds. Especially in California, the people in Sacramento have been in love with China, for example, and been investing a lot of money with that. As late as 2020, the investment officer of CalSTRS, Chris Ailman, publicly said that his main priority, investment priority, is two C's. One is climate change, and the other one is China. So I'm very worried that we are investing too much money in China, which is going to lose money, and it's going to hurt retirees in California and also the school boards and local government that are dependent on those pension funds to fund their obligations.
I read the resolution. You cited several reasons like lack of transparency. Can you elaborate on that?
First of all, I see this not necessarily as, I don't like the Communist Party in China, which I don't. But the main thing is that we need to protect the safety of these pension funds. We don't want, this should be very secure investments, should not be risky investments. As you probably know, there's three main issues with investing in China for a long time. It's not just right now, but for a long time. Number one, there's no free flow of information. For example, the government information about GDP or population is all wrong. For example, a couple of years back, there is a problem with, say, poisonous milk baby formulas. Those information are suppressed by the government. As an investor, you need to know that information to make sure that your investment is secure. So the first problem is free flow of information, or the lack thereof, in China right now under the current government. The second issue is the lack of an independent judicial system. So for example, right now, if you are a U.S. pension fund and you borrow money to, say, you lend money to, say, a company, say, Evergrande, and they decide to go bankrupt, and you want to go to a Chinese court to sue that company and say, I want my money back, it's a high probability that the courts in China are not going to rule fairly for a foreign investor. And that's another reason why it is so risky. Now, the last issue, as you have mentioned earlier, and that is the issue of accounting practices. And so far, we still don't have the Chinese government being open about all this information. Everything in China is somehow national security. For example, the ridership information for Didi, their version of Uber, those information, they cannot be open to us. So how can an investor make an informed decision when we are talking about investing in China? So for me, when I'm talking to people that are Democrats and Republicans who are in both state legislature and in Congress, I'm telling them that, look, yes, I don't like the Chinese Communist government, but that's not the main reason why you should stop investing in China. The main reason is it is just too risky, and we need to make sure that risk is mitigated.
What you have on the table is a resolution. What do you hope to achieve through this resolution, and what will the timeline look like for such a ban to become the law?
So on Sunday, we are going to have a floor vote here in Sacramento for the state party. I am expecting my resolution to pass. Tomorrow, Saturday, Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, is going to be speaking to us, and I would hopefully have an opportunity to address this issue with him directly. And I would hope that this is one of those laws that the new Congress can pass and receive White House support from President Biden.
What kind of bipartisan support do you anticipate?
One of the other issues that I have put into my resolution is to add one more thing, which is to say we need to support independent unions. That is, unions that are not controlled by the Chinese government. I think that's one thing that a lot of Democrats, especially blue-collar union Democrats, will support. So I'm hoping, I expect no opposition from both Democrats and, of course, Republicans. I talked to many legislators of both parties, and they like this resolution. We are talking about a lot of money right here. Like I said, the total pot is $5 trillion. One of the provisions of my resolution, in addition to calling for ban of future investments, is to find out what our existing exposure is to companies that either are directly in China or they are Chinese companies that are listed in U.S. stock markets. One of the examples that I always give is one of Luckin Coffee. It's a NASDAQ called LK. They basically have faked all their information when lying to American-based investors, and many American investors lost money because of it. And that's why it is not just direct investment into China, but also investment into American, maybe NASDAQ or NYSE-based stocks that are doing most of their businesses in China.
Thank you so much, George Yang.
Thank you for your time.